Lance didn't know what possessed him to do this. It wasn't like he never had a one-night stand before. He didn't usually get attached like this. He blamed it on Keith. Keith and his stupid soft hair, Keith and his stupid dark eyes, Keith and his stupid pretty face, Keith and that stupid dimple on the left side of his lopsided smile, Keith and his stupid rumbling laugh, Keith and his stupid callous hands, Keith and the low gasp he made when Lance touched him, Keith and the stupid way he touched him, so rubber and gentle. Like Lance was a dream that might shatter if he was too rough or insistent. He blamed Key. He blamed the fact that it felt like more than a one-night stand. He blamed the fact that they had mutual fans. He blamed the fact that it felt like they could be friends. He blamed the way he felt comfortable around him, like they had known each other for years and not just days. He blamed the potential he felt between them. It kept Keith on his mind, kept him constant in his thoughts, kept him imagining, kept him wondering. So really, it was no surprise when he had looked up at the cloudless night and thought of Keith. And really, he had always had an impulsive side, so it wasn't really a surprise that he had acted without really thinking this through. And to be honest, he was a hopeless romantic, so it should surprise that no one he was rolling with his gut on this one. That's how I found himself at Keith's hotel room door at 11 o'clock at night, just barely 12 hours after leaving this very same room. He knocked several times and then stepped back, rocking back and forth on his heels, practically bouncing in excitement. He clasped his hands behind his back to keep them still. It took a full, painful 30 seconds for the door to open. Lance would know. He counted them. Shiro, I told you I was going to be... Lance? Kid stood in the doorway, one hand on the doorknob, eyes wide, thick brows raised, lips parted in surprise. He wore a plain t-shirt and those adorable alien pajama pants, bare feet poking out from beneath. Lance's attention, however, was drawn to the headband, pushing all his hair back and exposing his face in all its pale, sun-pink glory. Dang, he was pretty. It didn't help that Lance could see the edges of a few dark bruises peeking out from the collar of his shirt. Lance grinned, eyeing the headband. That's adorable. Keith scowled, and Lance got the full effect of his thick, furrowed brows and pouty lips. He looked more confused than angry, so he supposed it was a good thing. Lance, what are you doing here? Come on, he said, reaching forward to snatch Keith's wrist and giving him a little tug. Keith didn't budge. Lance, what? Keith? He whined, bouncing and sagging his shoulders. Let's go! He gave his arm another insistent tug. His brows went up, but he still didn't move. Where? Lance grinned at that, pout forgotten. I want to show you something. Come on! He frowned, but there was some resignation here. Perhaps even a little trickle of excitement. Curiosity? Lance would take it. Okay, but can I change real quick? Lance sighed dramatically, letting go of his wrist. I guess, but hurry up! He rolled his eyes, but there was the beginnings of a smile as he turned around. Whatever. Give me a minute. Lance waited, energy buzzing through him as he leaned back against the railing, arms crossed over his chest, foot tapping the ground in time to the fingers tapping his arm. When Keith finally emerged, he was dressed in those tight black jeans that Lance was oh so fond of, red Converses and a thick black hoodie that just read, I want to believe. What a dork. It was adorable. About time, he grabbed Keith's wrist again, taking him toward the parking lot. Let's go! Where are we going? Keith asked, following after him, rushing to keep up with Lance's quick pace as he dragged him toward the street. You'll see, Lance called over his shoulder, laughing at Keith's disgruntled pout. They hurried down the street that ran through town, bordered by one side by the lake. Keith seemed to catch on to Lance's enthusiasm, paced quickly to keep up with him. When it became clear that Lance wasn't going to give anything away, Keith stopped asking. They lapsed into silence, but it wasn't strained. It was comfortable excitement and anticipation buzzing between them, riling them up and pushing them faster, until they were suddenly running, and Lance wasn't sure if he initiated it or if Keith had. Their eyes locked and they laughed, breathless. He wasn't sure when it had happened, but his hand had slipped down from Keith's wrist to his hand, and their fingers were entwined. The feeling of Keith's gloves against his palm was becoming oddly familiar. Lance led them down to the docks, slipping silently along the pier toward good old Dock 27. Keith was glancing around, chewing his bottom lip. "Are we allowed to be here?" he asked, voice oddly loud and dull in the darkness. Lance glanced at him, flashing him a grin in a glow of streetlight. "Would it make you feel better if I said yes?" "I'll take it as a no." Lance laughed, tugging him onto the boat. Keith followed after a slight hesitation. He was reluctant, and that much was clear, but it seemed overpowered by something else. Something excited. Something that was riled up by and fed by Lance's own enthusiasm. Lance hadn't thought Keith would be someone to be deterred by something as measly as trespassing, or borrowing the boat in the middle of the night that didn't quite belong to either of them. Turns out, it was right. "Pidge lent me the keys instead of locking them up," Lance said, jiggling the keys for emphasis. He finally let go of Keith's hand, stepping up to the wheel and turning on the boat. "Take a seat." Keith did so, sitting in the same place he had the day we went out parasailing. He hunched into his hoodie. "Does she know what you're planning?" "Nope," he said cheerfully, slowly and carefully pulling out of the dock. He wasn't as fast as he dared toward the lake, glancing around in hopes that no one would stop him. He didn't think they would. No one really knew he wasn't supposed to be out there, and there were no rules against night boating. Still, paranoia frayed his nerves, adding to the adrenaline that flooded his system. "How did you get her to agree?" He cringed. "I agreed to owe her a favor," Keith hummed knowingly. "That was probably a mistake." "Worth it." As soon as they were free of the buoys, Lance sped up. He saw Keith jerking his seat, hard shooting out to steady himself. Lance laughed, steering out into the middle of the lake as fast as he dared. He snapped a few glances at Keith, admiring his profile in the dim boat lights, watching the way the wind whipped his hair as he squinted into it, a small smile on his lips. He didn't stop until they were far from shore. He cut the engine and the lights, leaving them bobbing and at the mercy of the waves. It was eerily silent in the dark save for the moon. It felt surreal, like they had suddenly been dropped into a pocket removed from reality, a place solely for them. He stepped around the boat to where Kate was sitting, silently holding out his hand. He eyed for a moment before slipping his hand into his almost shyly. "Is this where you murder me and hide the body?" he asked wryly, and Lance could hear the small smile in his voice. He tugged him to his feet. "I can see why you think that, but no, you're too pretty to murder." He winked, but he wasn't sure Kate could see it. "Come on." He tugged him toward the back of the boat, stepping up to race deck, emptying out that the parasail had been folded and put away. "Lance, what are we—" "Shh." He shushed him, intending to put a finger to his lips, but missing and only touching the corner. He was, however, able to feel a smile at that, so he supposed it was worth it. He sat down and tugged Keith down with him. Lance lay back, putting his hands behind his head and stretching his legs out, crossing them at the ankles. Keith just eyed him wearily. "Come on." Keith sighed, giving in and lying down next to him, resting his hands on his stomach. He turned toward Lance. He frowned. "Now what?" "Now, look," Lance said simply, lifting a hand to gesture upward. "Whoa." Lance grinned and breathed. "Yeah, whoa." Above them, on the rare cloudless night, with an open sky and no city lights, the dark sky stretched above them, filled to the brim with stars upon stars. "Welcome to the southern hemisphere." "This is amazing," he breathed, voice in the complete awe, and when Lance glanced at him, his voice was relaxed and at ease, but his lips parted. "Yeah, but you can only see when it's not cloudy. So this is why you dragged me out?" He tilted his head, and Lance wasn't prepared for the sight of those dark eyes stare right through him. He quirked a small smile. "Yeah, I used to try to come out here whenever it's gonna be a good night for it. Nothing but the stars and the water." He tilted his head back, and able to look at Keith's face. "It's peaceful, you know? Makes you feel small, like all your worries are insignificant. Puts you at ease. I usually come out by myself, but you said you like the stars, so—" Glanced back in time to see Keith's small honest smile. He felt something in his chest there. He had no way of knowing if I say yes. He shrugged easily. "Nope, but you gotta take these kind of opportunities when they come, you know. Don't want to live with regrets." "No regrets indeed." "Thanks for taking the chance." "No problem." He rolled closer, until their shoulders touched their arms. Brush. He tilted his head to bump to the side of Keith. See that? Those stars? He pointed. That's the Southern Cross they're so proud of down here. Keith hummed, leaning into where they touched. Lance felt electric. I want to be an astronaut when I was a kid. Sad after moment. Voice pitched barely above whisper. Like anything louder might shatter out the moon. Lance was inclined to believe it might. I like the idea of getting away, of going somewhere else, with no one around. Exploring something new, escaping things here. There was something heavy there, something that weighed in Lance's chest. He nudged Keith playfully. You just wanted to meet an alien, didn't you? They were close enough that he saw the twitch of a small spot. That would have been cool. What a dork. Keith stared at the stars. Hands fingered tapping where his hand rested in his stomach. I want to be an astronaut too, he said, and Keith hummed. I used to have these glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. Still do. I had a telescope and star charts and everything, but it was always just a pipe dream. He smiled sadly. I miss Earth too much to leave. I miss the ocean, the beach. I miss the little pizza shack by my grandma's place in Cuba. I miss my family, my friends. There was a long silence before Keith said, hesitantly, almost quiet to hear. If you miss them so much, why are you here? Lance sat that, unable to tear his eyes from the stars. Then them ground him. Sometimes you just gotta get away, you know? Like, sometimes the things you love, your life, it's just too close and you feel suffocated by it. Life just get really overwhelming and you don't know what you want, but everyone expects so much and you don't know what you should do, so he laughed in. A snort, bitter laugh that bubbled up, threatening to choke you. So you run away, because that's all you're good at in the end. He felt the same heavy weight compound his chest, crushing his lungs, squeezing his heart, but he was unable to stop. The words just fell out of him, unbidden and sort of truthful, like somehow they were uttered here, in the dark, alone with Keith, and under the stars they didn't count. Sorry to get all sub-story on you. Heard it still. Heard the bitterness of it, but unable to stop it. I know it sounds really cliche and dumb. Some kid with a good family and a good college degree and probably nothing to worry about feeling overwhelmed by life and turning away. There was a long pause in which Lance counted the gentle crash of waves against the wall. I don't think it's dumb. He tilted his head, frowning at Keith, but the other boy continued to stare at the sky. If it weren't for the slight furrow in his brows and tightness around his lips, Lance might have thought he imagined it. I've always liked running. Keith's voice was pitched low, and Lance had to strain to hear it as the night swallowed his words. It helped me just get away. Helped clear my head. Helped take me away from everything and everyone. Like as long as I was running, nothing could touch me. But then it's just stopped being enough. Sure convinced me to do these races. They're helping, I think, but I feel like I'm intruding, like I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. As Lance watched, Keith's lips twisted into a sour frown, the pinch in his brows deepening. The fingers interwoven and resting his stomach were clenched tight, and there was a strain in his voice that was new. Like this is Cher's thing with Laura, and I'm just being selfish and butting in just to cling to them. Because apparently our things don't last. That bareness, self-deprecating and hollow, was something that he was all too familiar with. And while he hated seeing such a thing twist Keith's voice and expression like he was in pain, something in his chest felt lighter because of it. Something that could only come through understanding. An odd sense of twisted relief. You're afraid he's going to forget about you once he's married, aren't you? Keith sighed then, jerking slightly as he turned to look at Lance, eyes wide in the dark, mouth gaping forward, twisting into a deep frown. Lance gave him a small smile and continued before he could get too mad. I was the same way when my sister got married. It's natural to feel that way, I think. Especially if you're close. Keith pursed his lips, dark eyes unreadable as he breathed. Did she forget about you? Nope. Lance rolled his head to look up the stars. So far away, so small, yet covering them like a blanket, keeping them company in the night. Things are different, yeah, but we're still close. We just have different lives now. It's not a bad thing. It's just change. I don't like change, he mumbled, and Lance chuckled. Yeah, but not all change is bad. Some things can change for the better. He glanced sideways then, catching Keith's eye and feeling himself being sucked in. He couldn't see where iris met pupil. They were just dark pools reflecting the moonlight, glistening and beautiful in their own right. Sometimes, when we're least expecting it, he murmured the words, almost convinced he had said them in his head and not aloud. Keith just stared back at him, but it looked like he had stopped breathing. Nance knew the feeling. He cleared his throat, looking away. Besides, I don't think there's a wrong reason to do an Iron Man. You do it for you, right? And your reasons are on your own. And from what Paige told me, Cheryl studied them as a coping mechanism, right? Yeah. Well, it kind of sounds like you did too, he shrugged, feeling his shoulder rub against Keith's. So maybe you're a lot more alike than you think. Any way you look at it, it's impressive, and you should be proud of yourself for doing it. It's a lot of dedication and hard work. Lance didn't respond right away, and Lance didn't push him. Then he felt a hand brushing against his, and he slid their fingers together, resting them on his chest. Thanks, Lance. No problem, dude. They lay there, pressed from nearly shoulder to ankle, pointing out stars. Lance told him some of the constellations, and he pointed out a few that he knew. When they started to make up their own, complete and breathy laughs and playful shoves, they lay in comfortable silence, content to be stuck in a voice between water and stars, wrapped up in the silence, but not quite alone. Together they existed in a pocket of reality, one that belonged to them and them alone. The stars stretched wide, engulfing them as the boat rocked them gently. Lance found himself committing the moment to memory, the feel of Keith's hand warm in his own. Are you nervous about Saturday? He asked, whispering in fear of shedding a responsibility. A little. Anything specific, or the swim? I paused, and then most usually. I didn't know how to swim before I started training. I had to learn. A Lord taught me. I used to be afraid of the water, and I'm not the best at it, so... If we had more time, we could practice together. I'm a pretty strong swimmer, you know. He playfully rubbed Keith's shoulder with his own. He could practically feel him rolling his eyes, a trait he no doubt picked up from Pidge. Of course you are. He heard the smile in his voice. You're the Riverman. Riverman, he sang, turning on his side to wrap Keith with an arm and a leg. They both laughed, letting the moment dwindle back down to natural silence. The Lance remained where he was, half wrapped around him. Keith leaned to him, scooting just a little closer. Are you going to be around Saturday? Lance shrugged. Originally, I was gonna leave town because it gets pretty crowded on race day, you know. But I think I might stay to at least watch the beginning. A friend of ours has a sailboat, the one with the red sails. Can't miss it, and she offered to take us out to watch the swim. Keith hummed, and Lance watched him watch the stars, the porcelain of his skin pale in the moonlight, eyes dark as the night, lashes and brows dark against his skin, the hair pushed back to put his entire profile on display, the relaxed smile that looked warm and inviting his lips. Lance had a feeling he wasn't going anywhere on race day.